Okay, let's think about this. In these huge worlds we build in our heads, playing games like D&D where legends are made, what's that one thing, that sort of humble object that ends up being the bedrock, the thing that tracks everything, shapes the whole story?
Mm. It's funny when you put it like that. You've got these epic stories, complex rules, but
hmm
yeah, underneath it all is this document almost. And we kind of take it for granted sometimes, don't we?
It really hit me just the other week, actually. Playing D&D, we were stuck in this, well, it was a nasty swamp, and these giant leeches, really angry ones, were after us.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, right. And my character, a wizard, maybe a bit too fond of trying to talk his way out of things. Well, he thought maybe diplomacy was the key. So suddenly I'm scrambling, looking at my character sheet, like frantically, did I actually take persuasion? What's my charisma modifier again? You know.
Been there.
Exactly. The dice are rolling digitally, the DM's describing things getting worse and worse, and this physical sheet, marked up, coffee stain in the corner, it felt like the critical thing. It wasn't just stats, it was like our survival guide right there. Thankfully, we did get away, mostly because I eventually found the right numbers on that sheet.
That story just sums it up perfectly, doesn't it?
Uh,
It's so easy to get lost in the story, the mechanics, everything that's happening. But the character sheet, that's the foundation it's all built on. And, it really shows how important it is that Wizards of the Coast has put out these updated official sheets for 2024, along with the player's handbook updates. They clearly get how central it is.
Absolutely. And this isn't just like changing the font, is it? It feels like they've really thought about how people play now,
Yeah.
trying to connect that old school tabletop feel with, well, how we use tech today. And these are official, totally rules legal sheets designed to be easier to use, more accessible.
Precisely. And I think it's smart they offer them in two main formats. You've got the fillable PDF and then the classic printable one. It shows they understand people play D&D in lots of different ways.
Yeah, let's dig into those. The fillable PDF seems like a huge win for online games, or just, keeping things tidy digitally, being able to just type stuff in.
Right.
Great. And searching spell names. Oh, man. Think how much faster that makes things in combat.
Definitely.
Plus, autosave is built in so you don't lose things. And it looks clean when you share it on virtual tabletops, things like Roll20 or Foundry, those online platforms people use.
Yeah, the upsides for the PDF are pretty clear for how a lot of us play now. It's neat, it's fast update, you can carry it on anything pretty much. Sharing it with your DM or the party remotely is super easy. And if you like messing around with builds, having digital copies is just, well, really convenient.
But I guess there could be downsides too. Maybe if someone isn't super comfortable with PDFs, it might feel a bit technical at first. And you do lose that physical feeling of writing things down, that connection. Plus, printing fillable PDFs can sometimes be weird, right? Formatting issues.
Those are fair points.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a bit of a learning curve, yeah. And you're right, that tactile thing, the handwriting, the little notes, that's part of the ritual for a lot of players. And yeah, printer headaches are definitely a real possibility sometimes.
Okay, so then there's the other side, the printable sheet. The classic. Pencil and paper. For people who really value that physical connection, I mean, there's just something satisfying about quickly scribbling a note in a tense moment, The feel of the paper, it just works. No tech needed. And loads of longtime players have these sheets that are like campaign diaries, covered in notes, maybe little drawings. They become artifacts.
Totally. That's the core appeal, isn't it? It's immediate, it's tangible, no batteries required. You can read it in any light, which is actually pretty practical. And for so many people, it is D&D, that feeling, that nostalgia. And like you said, they become these cool records of your adventures.
True. But limitations too, obviously. Paper gets worn out, spilled on, you need a printer. And keeping it updated by hand, especially for high-level characters with tons of spells and gear, that can get messy. Lots of erasing. And backups mean, well, don't lose the paper.
Exactly. Spills, tears, just general wear.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're constantly tweaking things or have a complex character, all that erasing and rewriting can feel a bit slow compared to just typing it in.
It's interesting. I hear some people are doing a kind of hybrid thing now, using the PDF for setup, keeping it updated digitally, but then printing a fresh copy just for the actual game session.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's getting pretty popular, actually. You get the digital organization for all the prep work, but you still have that physical sheet at the table for the quick references and that tactile feel. Best of both worlds, maybe. And you always have a clean sheet for game night.
All right, so let's get into the sheet itself. The redesign for 2024, what are the actual key changes they've made?
Well, there are several pretty significant ones aimed at making things clearer, speeding up play. One big one is skills. They're now grouped right under the ability score they use. So, like, acrobatics is listed right there under dexterity, history under intelligence, not just one long alphabetical list anymore.
Okay. That seems way more intuitive, right? When the DM calls for a dexterity check, you see the related skills right there. Should definitely cut down on scanning the whole sheet.
Exactly. And another thing, which I think is great, is a dedicated box for attunement slots. It's right there in the main equipment section, clearly marked. Since attunement is so important for magic items, having that visual reminder up front should help a lot.
Oh, that is good. Seriously, the number of times play stops while someone tries to remember what they're attuned to? Yeah, big improvement.
Spellcasters, too, they get a big boost. All the spellcasting stuff is now pulled together onto one page. We're talking spell slots, spells known, your save DC, attack bonus, all in one spot.
Wow, okay. No more flipping between the front page and the spell list page constantly. That sounds like it'll make playing a caster, especially in combat, much smoother. It's not just tidier, like you said, it actually speeds things up. Less page flipping, more thinking about what cool spell to cast.
Totally. And it seems like a deliberate choice, too, that the more narrative stuff, character bonds, ideals, flaws, personality traits,
Yeah.
that's moved to the back of the sheet. So
Yeah.
the front page really prioritizes the mechanics, the numbers you need moment to moment.
Prioritizing the mechanics up front. How do you think that affects, say, newer players who might be drawn in by the story stuff first?
That's a good question. I think maybe it subtly helps teach the game. Like, it reinforces how your core stats, strength, dex, all that directly connect to what your character can do.
Yeah.
But the story stuff is still right there on the back when you want to dive into it.
So it keeps the crunch accessible, but doesn't ditch the fluff. Makes sense. Keeps the front clean for action, but the depth is still there.
Precisely. And there's some wording updates, too. Like, race is now species, just making the language a bit more inclusive. Oh, and passive perception. It's got a more obvious spot now, easier for everyone to see.
Little tweaks like that can make a surprisingly big difference to game flow, can't they?
They really can. The inventory section's also cleaner. It uses, like, multi-row areas and columns now. Should make tracking all your loot less of a headache. And the backstory sections, they've actually expanded those. Added spots for campaign notes, allies, party connections. Kind of encourages tying your character more into the world and the group.
That's a nice touch. Makes the sheet feel more like a living document of the campaign, not just stats.
Yeah. And AC calculation is clearer, too. Breaks down base armor, shield, magic bonuses, situational stuff separately. And initiative, also more prominent. Just helps kick off combat that little bit faster.
So if you put all these changes together, it really sounds like the main goal was just smoothing everything out. Faster lookups, easier play, more focus on the actual game, less on finding the right box on the page.
That really seems to be the idea behind it. Reducing friction, making the sheet work for you, not against you. And the language updates help make it feel more welcoming, too.
You mentioned earlier, or rather the sources did, how the new sheet helps with actually making a character. Can you expand on that a bit?
Sure. The way the information flows on the front page, starting with the basics, then abilities, saves. It feels more logical, maybe less intimidating if you're new. And for spellcasters, having that dedicated section laid out clearly from the start, it probably helps make sense of their magic earlier in the process. And putting the narrative bits on the back, it means you can focus on getting the core stats down first, and then flesh out the personality and background at your own pace.
And you stress the spellcaster benefits again there. It really does sound like putting all their magic info in one place is a huge quality of life improvement. Less bookkeeping, more playing.
It really is a big deal for them, I think. Having slots, DC, attack bonus, known spells all visible together, it just cuts out so much searching. Lets you focus on using the magic, not just managing it. They even have labeled spots for class-specific magic features now.
Okay, and finally, let's just quickly touch on the digital side again, that fillable PDF. It's more than just a digital copy of the paper, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It works in most browsers. You can save it to the cloud, makes it super flexible. And it plugs right into virtual tabletops like Roll20 or Foundry. You can often overlay it or import the data directly. That's massive for online play. Basically, it adapts to however you play, whether it's pure online, homebrew campaigns, or even groups that mix in-person and remote players. It becomes this central hub for your character that works everywhere.
It definitely sounds like Wizards put a lot of careful thought into this update, trying to cater to, well, pretty much everyone who plays, regardless of how they play.
Absolutely. They took something fundamental to the game and gave it a polish for today's world. Respecting the tradition, but also embracing, the tech we have now.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it's pretty clear that the character sheet, that thing we might just print out and scribble on or click around in, it's way more important than it first looks. It really is kind of the unsung hero of D&D, isn't it?
It really is. It holds everything about your character, their powers, weaknesses, the whole story of their journey. And this 2024 update feels like a really smart evolution. Makes it easier to use, more accessible, but still feels familiar.
Well, a big thank you to LitRPG Reads for their great breakdown of these new sheets, and a shout out to Paul Bello Finefellow.
Indeed.
And now, turning to you listening, we're really curious. What do you think? What are your first impressions of these new D&D character sheets? Let us know down in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take.